How's it going, YouTube? My name is Jack. Welcome back to another video. Today we are on Leckhampton Hill. Going to head up to what is known as the Devils Chimney. Now, down here on the northern slope of the hill is an area known as Daisy Bank, which recently was put up for sale and was due to be sold for development. Now, I've been coming up here for a very long time, since I was a boy, and the locals around here they've done a GoFundMe, and they have raised nearly £35,000, and along with lottery grants, heritage lottery grants, and grants from the local council, they are hopefully going to buy it and preserve it for generations to come. There's a rich history of mining up here for at least the past 300 or 400 years. There's been mines, and as you look on the slope of Daisy Bank here and you follow, there's a line of trees which head sort of diagonally across it up towards Daisy Bank Road, and that is where there was a standard gauge railway line to bring supplies up and take the stone which was quarried down to Cheltenham Kings and down to the now defunct abandoned railway line which went across the top of Cheltenham Kings and then down into Cheltenham. As part of the conservation, they now have fenced off this, I'd say, a third of it, or this area here anyway, for grazing of cattle. It's rich in wildflowers in the summer, popular sledging slope when it snows, and an all-round important place for nature and wildlife on the edge of Leckhampton Hill. This is the old railway bed which goes diagonally up through the field, and it would have gone underneath Daisy Bank Road, and there was a bridge, and it would have sort of cut almost diagonally underneath the road, which has now all been filled in. Still, I believe that's part of the old bridge, and then the line would have come under here, under the road. Would have come underneath the road diagonally and then continues on up here. This was a popular mountain biking route for us when we were kids, bombing down this hill. Yeah. You kind of have a feeling about the history when you're that age, but you don't really think about it. I was reading up on it recently, and I was still finding things out which I didn't really know, like the names of the different quarries and some of the names of the people which were involved in them. In 1894, a lot of this land was acquired by a man called Henry Dale, and he proceeded to put a big fence up around a large area of the hill for his own business purposes, and this was met with quite a lot of fury by the local residents. And in 1902, a crowd had gathered of some 2,000 people around down here. There was a tramway cottage. There was various tramways and lines coming up the hill to take stone and quick climb down and bring supplies up. And there's another tram line which goes along down the west side of the hill. And along there he fenced it all off, and the locals turned up and proceeded to raze the tramway cottage to the ground. They evicted the residents and destroyed it and tore down a lot of the fence. Some of them were arrested and read the Riot Act. The tramway cottage was, however, rebuilt, and in the early 1920s, on top of the hill, production continued and the quarrying, and 4 huge steel lime kilns were built to produce quick lime, and also they were quarrying the rocks for walls and road building throughout the local area. I did record a piece to camera here showing where the lime kilns were situated, which were on the concrete base you can see just there, but I pressed record when I thought it was off and I didn't actually record anything. So there we go. Heading up the side of where the lime kilns were situated would have been another tram line coming up here round to the western side of the hill, round to service the quarries on the top. As you reach the top of the tram line, which comes up, the kilns are just down here. The tramway comes up here. You are greeted with the views over to Cheltenham, and also this is another one of the quarries. Where the tram lines would have taken the stone back down. And this area is quite popular for writing messages in the stones, which I can show you when we get up to the top. Although the quarries date back hundreds of years, in the Jurassic era, in the Jurassic period, this would have been a warm, shallow seabed. After the quarrying had finished, the local council bought the hill in 1927, and the hill was then opened to the public in 1929. And it is now a very popular place for walkers, dog walkers, runners, mountain bikers, and people just seeking the fresh air and the views. So we're approaching this part of the hill, looking down into what we did call the bomb hole, which looks extremely overgrown now. But as you can see down here, we had ridden our mountain bikes down in here and then jumped up the other side. But now that is all just completely overgrown with brambles and various things. From here, as I mentioned, we've walked up the top, up the side around here, and you can see the sign writing in the stones some messages people have proposed this way in years gone by. Lots of people's names and things there to date. Here on top of the hill was the site of a radar station built in 1939, demolished in 1959. I'm not sure if these bits of concrete are the remnants of that. There's another one over here. This looks to be where the radar building was. There's still some brick foundations and some brick foundations in here as well. And it doesn't count if you don't touch the trig point, the highest point of the hill. In 800 to 100 BC, this was the site of an Iron Age hill fort, and this, as you can see, the ramparts going around the outside of the fort Down here are remains of, you can see the outlines of roundhouses in the grass, and over this way you can see the remains of a round barrow, and over into the distance is the remains of one of the other quarries, the Brownstone quarry, where another tram line would have gone around the top over here to it. And here we are at the Devils Chimney. And there's lots of stories and legends about how it came to be, but it's most likely due to there being an incline created for one of the quarries, and they've dug it out, and that is what's remained, and it had been shaped by some quarrymen to look like a chimney, and it is quite a local landmark. It's been restored over the years, and it's a pretty cool feature. Thanks for joining me on my little walk to the Devils Chimney today, Leckhampton Hill. Hope you've enjoyed the ride. Hope you've enjoyed the journey. And let us know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. That would really help me out. And I'll see you on the next one.